Hey, I'm going to be really honest. I already tried to film this video. Ironically, I gave up because it wasn't good enough. And that will make sense in just a few moments. I also missed a fortnightly upload because my partner had a week off work and I felt embarrassed recording in front of him, which also happens to be quite ironic for the theme of this video. But enough groveling and apologies, let's get to it. As for the fear part of this video, I have decided to draw 4 artworks where a Pinterest lady is the hero of the image, and they will be loosely representing my 4 greatest fears / challenges. So I'm doing 2 fears and 2 challenges, and I'm using this channel to try and overcome majority of those fears. But I just thought a good exercise that a lot of people do is speaking their fears out into the universe. So I am creating an artwork that represents those fears and showcasing it for all to see, which is a big portion of my fears. So let's get drawing.
Now, this first one that I'm drawing is my fear of failure. So this is a big one. For a lot of artists, we have like a tendency for perfectionism. It's something a lot of people suffer from, and it is talked about a lot, but I don't think it's talked about enough in how hard it is to overcome and get used to, really. Like, there's lots of how to fix, and I just think that it's more personal. There's not one way to fix it. It's a very personal struggle, and you'll discover your own way to fix it eventually. But the way to overcome that I am trying is just drawing and posting. Like, everything that I make, even if it's a massive fuck up, I'm still posting it. So for example, I showed at the start of this video how I had already tried filming this video, and the drawing that I actually screwed up was the perfectionist one, which is so ironic. It is insane. But yeah, that's how a lot of my art process has been lately, is drawing something and then just screwing it up. So I'm saying no more screwing things up and just drawing it and then posting it regardless, or if I hate it, I experiment with a new technique over the top and see if I find something new. Enough about perfectionism. While drawing this piece, I decided to make that lady a very traditional, prim, proper looking 80s, 70s kind of style. I also did her in my comfort style, and this is how I've been drawing and coloring in since I started drawing and coloring in. I chose to add eye bags underneath her eyes, and I think that's kind of an obvious choice for perfectionism. You feel like you're just constantly working and grinding to try and make it look exactly right. So this next piece is a bit of a childish fear, but I know a lot of people with anxiety tend to have the same fear, and that is the fear of darkness. This culminated in me when I was a teen. I was having these recurring nightmares that I would wake up from and see things in my room as if like someone's standing there, but turns out I was having sleep paralysis. So my body was still asleep and I was still dreaming, but I could see and I was awake. So my dreams would kind of overlay into real life is probably the best way to describe it. It's really quite terrifying, and I didn't know what it was at the time, so it's developed this fear inside of me. But now, as an adult, I know when I'm having a nightmare and when I'm actually awake. I'm a lot better at staying asleep throughout the night. When my boyfriend first moved in with me, he got to witness my sleep paralysis firsthand, and he was shocked. It was pretty funny. But he really helps with me staying asleep, and if I do wake up from a nightmare, he's right there for me. So this fear, I would say that I'm pretty much over it, but it still gets me occasionally when I'm having a rough patch with anxiety. So I thought I would add it in, as it's been like a pretty big ongoing fear for a while. As for the character, I drew this extra large jacket on her to try and hide her like humanly figure, because a lot of the time when I'd wake up from these nightmares, there would be like clothing or like some sort of dark thing hanging in my room, and that oftentimes would take on the silhouette of something in my room. Even though I knew it was just clothing, it still really looked like something, and my anxiety would convince me that it's something. So that's why I drew this jacket on her, as a lot of the time it is a jacket hanging in the room that gets me. And then the second choice was the hair kind of melting around the face, to sort of have her like melting into the darkness is the idea, and having like quite a neutral, almost angry kind of plain expression, because a lot of the time when I have these fears at night, it is just a silhouette. I can't see any face or anything on it. It's just like a general outline, because it's actually just a jacket or a towel or something stupid like that. So that was the idea behind this drawing. Alright, this is my third time recording this, so let's get it. This next drawing represents a challenge that I didn't even know I was facing until just last year, but it explains a lot about my life experience up until now. Early last year, I was diagnosed with level 1 autism. I am greatly affected when it comes to social situations. I really struggle to connect with people and maintain friendships, hence why this is one of the bigger challenges that I face. So my choices for this drawing were determined by my own experience with autism. She has a large oversized jumper on, as that's my favorite, most comfortable thing to wear, and it says "go away" across the front of it. That's because I don't enjoy social situations. I much prefer a one-on-one with someone rather than a large room of people. It sounds really introverted, but I would love to be that person who enjoys parties. I love going to festivals and things, but I am just so uncomfortable because I don't know how to talk to people and maintain a conversation, be interested without sounding fake. My next choice for it was to put some glasses on her. I don't need glasses, but I like to wear blue light glasses or glasses with a slight yellow tint, as my eyes are quite sensitive to light stimulus. I think it should be a little bit more normal to wear sunglasses inside if you really want to. Lastly, I drew her with a very neutral, almost sad, angry expression, because I have a lot of trouble knowing what my face is doing. Most of the time I forget I even have a face, and I just have this really sad looking face apparently. And a lot of people ask if I'm okay, and that causes like a social situation once again that I do not want to be in. And so those are just the things I deal with. So I decided to put them in as the challenge, as they are my greatest problems with autism, and I know it could be worse, and I am so glad that it is not worse than that. And for anyone who has a late diagnosis and is going through finding yourself again and figuring things out, you're not alone. Lastly, we have my fear of being the center of attention. In this portion of the video, we are graciously joined by my beautiful little corgi baby named Ein. He's stunning with his eyebrows. Just enjoy him trotting along in the background while I draw in a park, which was a challenge as it puts me in the center of attention in my mind. I know you can walk past someone drawing in the center of a park and not think twice about it, but in my head,
I felt like I was being so obnoxious drawing in the middle of the park, and it made me feel like I was the center of attention, and I hated it.
But it's important for me to challenge myself, and that is the point of this YouTube channel, so I may as well make the most of these challenges and really force myself out of my comfort zone. Anyway, I wanted to do a two-tone image to see how that translates into a digital format when I do my experiments later in the week. So I decided blue and yellow because it's a very contradictory feeling of being the center of attention. It's both a good thing and a bad thing in my head. I, like everyone, likes to feel loved and like they're important and that kind of thing, but at the same time I hate it and I feel really obnoxious. The blue represents a bit of a sadness and that the character wants to sort of go a bit invisible, and then the bright yellow and orange party hat on her head shows that it's like her birthday, she's the center of attention, like everyone look at me, look at this hat I have on, is kind of the idea behind this drawing. So hope you enjoy the rest of this video and look out for next fortnight's video where I will show how I experiment with these drawings and turning them into a digital format, which ultimately will hopefully be my art style. Thank you for watching.
Try to organize my mind while the world falls behind. Slow waltz around the sun. Every year reveals a change. Looking back now, feeling strange. We all learn to be someone. What happens next? What happens next? Won't pretend to know. What happens next? I heard you say to love is to let go. Turning out the light again while I wrestle what's within. Looking out for a friend. What's the one rule we forgot? Say the story or the plot. Something new is overdue.